if you're a girl,
Mm-hmm.
probably being really pretty would help.
Yeah.
And, and or having some sort of like little weird quirky thing happen to you, or what's the extra story behind
Yeah.
behind this person.
Yeah.
And when you find, oh yeah, I spent my life running barefoot in the forests in Africa,
Mm-hmm.
and here I am. Oh, and I'm cute, and I speak well, and
Yeah.
or something, or
I think that's a lot of it. Articulate, like so you go do these videos, you make videos, you get a little following, and then I think influencers are gonna get money from these sponsors a lot easier than just like, okay, all I do is play football or whatever. But if you're playing football, you have a big following of all these football players and everything. But if you're running track, you probably have a following, but just not as big. You're not selling tickets. So they give a little bit of money. Like when I was in college, it's like, okay, they did our laundry. Like they cleaned our workout outfits, and they gave us a mat, and they would give us food on the road, and stuff like that, But like,
and the bus, if you think about it.
Yeah,
on the road, there's a bus.
Yeah.
There's expenses involved in that.
And there was no real advantage to the college per se, but like an athletic program, maybe people go to that college because of the athletic program, like okay, I'm going to go to this college or that college. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to get my kid to go to this school.
Oh, they're actually trying to recruit her?
Yeah. But they want her to go and pay tuition,
well,
So you're kind of, it's just a marketing program, to get girls to want to go to the school. And, the school is a private school, and they're like $80,000 a year or something like that. The tuition is probably 70 or something like that.
Yeah, but why? But the statistics are that there are plenty of girls in college.
Yeah.
Is that this one doesn't have the boy-girl ratio?
No, it has plenty. It has plenty. No, it has plenty. But they want more people coming to pay more money.
Oh, okay. So they just figured she was a good potential catch based on.
Yeah, it was like, okay, they get this, they get their track coach to like go and spread this net and see if he could bring in like 20 kids to run on the team, and all pay tuition. And he has to tell them like, listen, these slots fill up, so if you better take them, now and commit. Otherwise they're going to fill up, and then you won't be able to come here. But Kira's going to get into a UC. And so it's going to be cheaper no matter what. So, okay. Oh yeah, not straight to
make the background look.
Oh yeah, professional.
More professional.
Yeah. So we went down there, just down and back, really quick.
Oh really? Was it in a day?
Well, down Friday, back Saturday.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to say that.
Spend the night.
That's all you can do. Is 4 and 4 as 8.
Man, and driving through LA is a disaster, man. But you're right, San Diego. But not all of San Diego is this bourgeois.
No, well, it can't be.
It can't be.
There's got to be some barrio.
And that's true for San Diego. But that's the cool thing about Ventura. It's like it's a little bit more Kentucky. Like I don't know. You go up.
Not anymore, but yeah, I guess a little bit.
A little bit more than like up the hill in Thousand Oaks, right? It's a whole different scene up there.
Yeah. There's another place, Thousand Oaks. I mean, yes, it's very nice and everything, but.
I just don't like it. I don't know, but it's all changing, like they're putting in a ton of housing, traffic's getting worse up here, and it's the way it is. But is the population growing? Maybe it's shrinking now.
Ventura?
America.
Well, school age population is shrinking in Ventura, that's for sure.
Oh, really? Hmm. Well.
And the public school, I mean, it's just, public schools, it's shrinking faster, but the general school age population is not growing.
People aren't having kids.
Yeah. Oh, here, I'll give you, this is...
And people are being deported or self-deported.
Here's a little Ventura County statistic I heard.
Okay.
I listened to the radio, and Matt Levere, who is a city councilman, comes on and talks about meetings, and they had a big meeting with a public component about immigration and whether or not the Ventura officials are going to cooperate with ICE, which of course they're not, because we don't do that. So apparently last year there were, I think he said something like 25 or 26,000 arrests by the sheriff's department
Yeah.
in the county of Ventura.
Yeah.
Okay. Of those, did I say 25,000? It's okay. So of those 25,000 or 26,000, whatever the number was, 1,000 of them, the federal government requested that they be referred to the federal government. 1,000
out of 25.
out of 25,000.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay? They picked out 1,000 people and said, we want these guys because there's extra, something extra, primarily immigration. Of those 1,000 people, 43 were handed over to ICE, and they had complaints about that at the city
About the
council.
43.
43.
Because
If there were 1,000 arrestees, so we're in custody right now, right?
Yeah.
And there's some reason that some other agency knows about the fact that we're in custody right now.
Yeah. I wonder how they even know.
Well, that didn't, he didn't go into all of that because that's not the other thing. They're not providing information. So that means somebody has to be doing some research.
Yeah.
Active research. Anyway, and I don't know. I just listened to him obfuscate.
Well, the sheriff came out and said, "Hey, we're going to work with ICE," right?
He said sort of yes, and getting no end of crap from it.
Yeah.
For it.
But is he going to work more with ICE than they did before,
I
or
don't
wonder?
know.
Interesting. Well, there's a showdown. Trump was going to supposedly withhold funds from sanctuary states like this, but I don't think anything ever happened.
I don't know.
And now Gavin's saying he's
Everything
going to
is-
withhold funds from any college that
Yeah,
signs
from
Trump.
anybody who cooperates with the federal. If you cooperate with the federal government,
You're
the
not gonna
state will
California.
take your money. If you don't cooperate with the federal government will take your money. So,
Yeah. Man, Gavin's going to be a mess. But now we have the election. We have this big election,
Oh.
Prop 50. And then we got to get back to Karl Marx because I was interested in the history of that.
Well,
But
I don't know. I don't have enough history.
but you know a little bit. I just need to know just the nuts and bolts. Like how. But the election coming right up, right? When this is like
Yeah.
oh wait, it's November. It's like a
Yeah.
month from now. 1 month from this weekend or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're going to mail ballots probably.
This is California. We now mail ballots to everybody. We've been doing it for 5 years. Everybody gets a ballot in the mail.
Despite the executive order that there's no more mail-in ballots.
Of course.
Yeah. These executive orders have very little effect.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and there always seems to be I'm going to make a joke of this, a justice of a peace somewhere who says, yeah, I don't think that's a good idea, so I'm going to issue an injunction.
Yeah. But they did change that too, where they can't make I think the Supreme did this, you can't have a
national injunction
Yeah.
from if your district is,
you can only do it for your district.
is your backyard,
Yeah.
you can't issue a national injunction.
Yeah. Which is good.
Which would seem logical.
But I think that may take effect. But the what's it called? But all the executive orders really don't have any effect. He said there's an executive order that every drug shall not be charged more than the cheapest place you sell it or something.
Well,
like that.
that's that's the kind of stuff I wish he weren't doing, but he is.
The crazy stuff that can't be enforced. I mean,
I don't.
the guy's crazy. I wonder if he's really crazy. Like Johnson was on video saying, "Oh yeah, he's not mentally there, or he's not mentally well, or something like that."
Wait, who said?
I think Mike Johnson,
Said that Trump is crazy.
Yeah, maybe
Trump
he just meant crazy. Like, oh yeah, this guy's
Well,
crazy.
if Trump is crazy, all I can say is the guy sure works well off the cuff.
Yeah.
I watched him talk for 30 minutes or maybe even longer at the Charlie Kirk Memorial.
Mm-hmm.
The guy was funny.
Yeah.
He was off
Articulate.
the cuff.
Yeah.
And that whole business about I don't forgive my enemies, it was tongue in cheek. You could see. I mean, he was goofing around. Well, Charlie, I'm sorry, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
Looking up and all this.
Just
stuff.
a little self-deprecating, like humor, like, oh, I don't do
Yeah.
that. He's way better than me because
Yeah.
I'm a bad guy. Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't do that. I couldn't speak off the cuff like that.
No, the guy's a machine, amazing, right? But then everything he does, sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, this is not what I would have done, or I disagree with this, But you can't. But that's how it's supposed to be, right?
I agree that I would disagree.
Yeah, a lot of stuff, But I wonder, so the election, we don't know how this is going to go, but the polls show it's going to pass.
It'll pass.
Yeah.
It'll pass.
So...
Do you know how it'll pass? The teachers' union alone could probably put it over the top. And every teacher will vote for it. Well, 90% of the teachers will vote for it.
So are we going to get redistrict? So our district will no longer be a district. There's no more incumbent.
I don't know if we will be.
Yeah, maybe not. We don't. It's going to be drawn, but there's going to be no more incumbent because all the districts will change a little bit.
Well,
or maybe they'll just change a little bit.
No, I don't know. It'd be interesting.
We're going to go out to.
It doesn't.
Because there's probably Republican out in Lancaster, Palmdale, or something like that.
Yeah, they'll figure out how to get.
So we're going to go all the way out to Palmdale. And then back in.
Well, we got this district already runs up the coast on, some boulevard or something. It's a very goofy looking thing. It's carefully incorporated.
Brownlee or something.
Nice, yeah.
Brownlee. She needs a challenger, Jim.
Nope.
Why? You don't want that hate? First of all,
I don't like hanging out in meetings. I don't like. I wouldn't want to sit down and seriously analyze the budget. I mean, all I could do is say, this program needs to go, this program needs to go, this program needs to go. But I don't know how to set up a really good budget to make sure the roads and the sewers and the power is on.
Yeah, but neither does she, dude.
No, exactly. But I know I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, I know.
And I know it's important. And it would be a really bad idea for me to screw it up.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that means she, who also doesn't know and also apparently doesn't care, will screw it up.
Yeah.
And I will be stuck with her decision.
Yeah. Well, even if you did want to, if I wanted to, I should say, run, it's an impossibility. You need funding and I would need to be articulate. But maybe if there's a new district, I'll just try and run. Why not? It'll never happen. I've never done city council even, or school board, so.
You might want to go watch one before. I mean, I cannot imagine sitting through one of those meetings.
Yeah. I've never been to one. It seems really hard, but it would be fun to be in the House of Representatives. I mean, that would be really something. Well, it'll pass, and we'll see. But are there other states making other retaliatory?
Well, it doesn't. Yeah, I mean, Texas is doing what they're doing.
But we're
I don't know
that.
I don't know what'll happen. I'm pretty sure it's not good, and it doesn't bode well for the next 2 years.
Well, Texas is getting like 5 more supposed Republicans, and then now, but we're already, I think the Democrats are already pretty gerrymandered.
Oh, yeah.
So how much more are you going to gerrymander?
Yeah.
I don't think I can pick up that many more. But then there's probably some red states going to go in retaliation of that.
Seems it was about 8 or 10 years ago, there were 5 seats that went Republican on election day, and a week or 2 weeks later, after the recount, all 5 of them disappeared.
Right.
5. God, what are the odds?
Yeah.
5 out of 5, and I remember that, and I wish I should go back and try to figure out which districts they actually were.
So maybe there's some shenanigans.
Gee, I wonder.
Yeah. Interesting.
Hey, are you very up on the World Economic Forum?
Not really.
Okay, so
what do you know?
Do you know the name Klaus Schwab?
Yeah.
Okay, so he founded this thing right around middle 70s. No, actually I think early 70s, 72 or 3 or 4.
Yeah.
So I don't particularly know where his money came from, but he's been building this ever, for the last 70 years, 50 years. And so it is now a huge, big deal. When I went to work for Johnson & Johnson, I heard an expression I had never heard before, but it's really big deal at Johnson & Johnson, and it's stakeholder. We're all concerned about stakeholders. Later on, turns out that is a word that was coined by Klaus Schwab. And he talks about in fact he used the expression stakeholder capitalism. And stakeholder capitalism means everybody gets a say except the guy, not except, but the guy that owns it, he gets a say too, but everybody else gets a say in what you do.
Yeah.
And I found there's another phrase that just came up that I heard about. Yeah. And it's called the circular economy, also the circular economy theory. And I'm sitting there going, well, what's this? It sort of means that whatever you do, you have to consider every conceivable ramification, period, the end, before you do it. And gosh darn if that doesn't turn out to be a Klaus Schwab idea too. So get ready for the circular economy.
Well, I wonder how much influence he has in, what is he doing? Is he doing like Soros type?
He does that thing in Davos every year that everybody shows up to in their private planes.
Well, it's becoming less popular though.
He wrote the book, The Great Reset, or COVID-19, The Great Reset. That he wrote that book.
Really?
His name is on the book. You can buy it on Amazon. There's two names on the book, but he's co-author. COVID-19, The Great Reset.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like if everyone's a stakeholder, then that's sort of community-owned business, right? And so it's basically socialism, right? Kind of.
And he also, and the other phrase that he is into is the public-private partnership.
Yeah. And
the public-private partnership is really and truly the difference between what Hitler was doing and what Joseph Stalin was doing.
Yeah.
Hitler was the public-private partnership, and it was working, and Stalin was trying to do real communism. Carl, what a guy.
Well, trace from Karl Marx to Joseph Stalin. Like he was in 1850s.
Right. So he's writing the middle 1800s. He's dead in 1890 something.
And so during that time, like the French had like a it was like a capitalist society.
The French were already what was the first French? There were a gazillion French revolutions. That's the other thing. Every time you turn around, there was a new French revolution. There was a French communist commune in Paris in like 1850 or something like that. They took over, the communists took over Paris for like 2 months.
Really?
Yeah, Paris.
Wow. Well, then they overthrew the last revolution. They overthrew the Palace of Versailles. Is that right? And then that was around that time, right?
Somewhere in there.
So they killed King George or King.
They killed everybody.
Yeah, and they killed those guys. They took over, and then that brought us. Like, so maybe Karl Marx, that sort of movement had something to do with it.
Well, the communists were, the real communists, the Karl Marx communists, were all over France. Yeah. And so the whole, the labor movement, they were big on the labor movement. Yeah. Because Karl Marx also he took classical economics, what's now called classical economics. David Ricardo, came up with the labor theory of value, where you could predict the price of an item by adding up the component labor that went into the item, and that would be the price. Well, of course, that's wrong, because it's not wrong. That's the price. That's the lowest price at which you could sell it. Yeah. Right, without losing money. So you have to sell it for above that to make money. Yeah. But it also doesn't account for how much is that Mona Lisa worth? The component, the amount of time that it took that kid back there in Italy to to do that on the canvas, the cost of the canvas, the cost of the paint, because we add those things up, that thing's worth like 30-40 bucks.
Yeah. Leonardo da Vinci.
Right. So in other words, there is something called the utility theory of value, where it's worth whatever you'll pay for it, is the simple.
It's all supply and demand, but there's only one of them. And then a lot of people want it. And people saw a lot of value in that. But, and from a historical component too. But then, so Marx, he was at late 1800s, and then Joseph Stalin eventually picked up this guy.
Joseph, so it's, how did it go? The revolution.
They did a revolution in France.
Well, yeah, but they did, and then
it was still
finally,
more of a capitalistic. They didn't really go to communism at that time.
No, not in France.
Yeah.
No, but the communists were always in and around France.
Yeah, but then
and the communists were so. In fact, I've heard that Bismarck, when everything was like, so this is late 1800s in Germany, Bismarck was trying to figure out how to keep the communists at bay. And so one of the things he came up with was the idea of universal health care. So the Germans pioneered the idea of universal health care, I believe, I think before the turn of the century, not absolutely positive about that. They just, we'll just buy them off. Yeah. And so then you've got, so then World War I is all brewing.
Early.
In 1917, all hell breaks loose in Russia, and the czars have Nicholas had like spent all his money fighting the Japanese. I think it was I guess it went early 1900, and I'm not quite sure what that was all about, but the Japanese whooped him.
Yeah.
And he spent a bunch of money. And so he had troops in the wrong place, and he was broke, and Russia was a mess.
With the czars.
Yeah, and
then Joseph Stalin.
No. Lenin was the way. Yeah. Lenin and Trotsky, and I can't remember, there's 3 or 4 other guys that were all involved. And they were extremely clever. Yeah. They took over the railroads and the telegraph. And the next thing you know, they ran the whole country. They really did. They were brilliant tacticians at revolution.
So Lenin used Karl Marx's ideology.
And they came over and
Russia.
They said, we are going to seize the means of production.
Yeah, and Lenin did. And then they eventually expanded more and more countries after that. Was like in the 40s.
After World War II.
After World War II. Because then it's just sort of.
But the thing of it is, so you've got after World War I. So World War I gets settled, whatever. I guess we can pretend that the borders kind of settled down a little bit, and Germany's in the dumper. Yeah. And Germany just is. It's just like creamed.
They're not allowed to have any more production.
And they can't make airplanes.
Yeah.
And they can't make.
They just have to be a farming type.
Right. And so they were a mess.
Yeah.
And the Russians were also a mess because every time you turned around, these guys would say, "Well, kill them," and they would, you don't get along with us, kill them, or ship them off to Siberia, which the threat of which I guess was pretty serious. What would Siberia be like in 1920?
Not good. Cold.
You have.
Well, they have the gulags up there. There are big prisons up there in Siberia, I would think.
Yeah. But you think about, life at that point in time at any level, electricity and gas are just coming into their own. Yeah. Almost simultaneously.
Yeah. If you're anywhere else besides San Diego,
right? You're in a big city. Yeah. Paris had gas.
Yeah.
In 1900, I think they had gas. Yeah. And running water.
Yeah. But life has got to be super uncomfortable. They would ship them up there, and so that was a threat pre World War II, and probably after as well. And so then World War II, they ended up
by
with a little
World
bit
War
more.
II, by World War II, Lenin is gone, Stalin's in place, and
A few other people, and then Stalin's in place. Okay.
Stalin is
brutal.
brutal.
Wants to take over other countries. Why are the socialists, which are like, hey, peace and love and give everyone happiness, want to have the inclination to invade other countries so much?
I imagine it depends on which socialist you're asking.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the part of the predicament is, and Karl Marx basically said, the whole world needs to be communist. That way the system will work.
Like if one state decides to be more like give out, like, I don't know, like do something, they need the whole country to be the same way.
Right.
Otherwise the system doesn't work. If we get free healthcare, everyone's just going to come here and get the free healthcare.
Right.
Yeah. And so they're like, okay, well, this system's not working that well. That's because everyone could go somewhere else. Yeah. Well, they have a point.
So there's a funny twist in the story of communism. It's not funny, because the word socialist and the word communist were together, but the word communist really meant the amalgamation of all the socialist ideas. So there were communal living, and by the way, give your kids to the state and let the state educate them.
Which we're doing.
Which dates back to, doesn't that date back to Plato? Had that idea in the Republic, I think. So anyway, so Karl Marx dies, 1900. There's some very prominent socialists in England, and they form the Fabian Society. And among them are George Bernard Shaw, a great playwright, by the way. I mean, he really was. He was a pain in the ass as a man, but probably. But anyway, and not what was it, Wells? Who wrote Time Machine?
No.
H.G. Wells. Who wrote?
Oh,
I hate this part.
H.G. Wells.
Did Wells write Time Machine? Who coined the phrase New World Order? Because he wrote the book. Was it Wells? No, Wells wrote History of the World, but he wrote...
Orwell?
Oh, was it Orwell? It was either Wells or Orwell.
What did Wells write? Orwell, of course, 1984. And Wells wrote Brave New World, is that right?
Yeah, I think you're right. It was either Wells or Orwell, and I think it was Wells, wrote New World Order, which was a short book, long pamphlet that was published literally as Germany was beginning to send the bombs into London. So this is 1938, 39. I don't know what year Germany actually started bombing, but that's when it was. So World War II is just exploding, and this guy writes this book, and and in the book he says, you know, socialism kind of was really hard to pull off in 1900, but now that we're in the modern era of the late 1930s, we have all the tools to make it work. And he's talked about communication and transportation, because radio is now invented, radio and telegraph are all, integrated, and we're flying, and we've got great ships that can actually get someplace in a predictable time frame. And he said, these are, with these machines, with this technology, these things now make socialism. This is the last piece in the puzzle that'll make socialism
Interesting.
work.
Yeah. Well,
and he's saying that as basically simultaneously with London being bombed by the Germans.
Yeah.
He also was marginally complimentary of Hitler. He said, well, Hitler's a bit of a pain in the ass, but he said he basically has the right idea.
Yeah, that's really been, like everyone will tell you now that Hitler was not a socialist. I mean, that's just is really, they're pushing that really hard. Like, if you look on the internet, like everyone's gonna say this guy is not. but I feel like he had socialist ideals,
He did.
strong government that's in charge of everything, means of production. Maybe not communist, because you were saying socialism is owning the means of production. Most
No,
of the people.
see, that's the thing.
But no one even
In the 19th century, they were simultaneous. I mean, they were concurrent ideas. And then with the Fabian Society, they tried to break into two different theories. And so the communists said, we're going to take your shit. And the Fabian socialists said, hang on, we're not going to take your stuff. You're going to vote to give it to us.
But then one has all of the ideals, you know, and not just an economic system. Like one is like, okay, we're, you know, equal rights for the trans and the gays and stuff like this. Does that like?
That's, yeah, Wells
like
wrote New World Order.
Yeah.
And its publication date, they don't have a publication date, but anyway. And it's a fascinating book to read. And it's relatively short too.
I feel like, oh, maybe I'll check that out. But I feel like the communists maybe are more friendly to marginalized groups. You know, like the trans movement or something.
Well, and
the socialists, they could just kill them, maybe. I don't know. Because they are like Nazis, you know. I mean, they what's stopping them from killing someone? If you, just because the state owns a means of production, doesn't mean you necessarily have to be nice to everybody. Even the communists had more of a movement of like, okay, all-inclusive.
Yeah, but
maybe
they were
not.
all-inclusive unless you cross them, and then if you cross
then they
them,
kill you.
Then we take you out.
Yeah.
And the idea of taking you out is built into their theory of we're going to perfect mankind, you know, and mankind is going to be perfected. And one of the ways we're going to perfect mankind is by getting rid of those people who've got the wrong kind of brains.
Yeah.
It's
like the Jews.
A little bit Darwin-esque in its own way.
Interesting.
Survival of the fittest, aka those who fit inest.
Yeah. Well, it's hard to, like, sort of, there's all these terms that are thrown around, and then they sort of change over time, you know, Nazi, like, fascist, communist, liberal. Yeah, like, I'm a classical liberal, but just I'm not progressive or a Democrat, you know, like, I sort of feel like the free market and stuff like this.
Right.
But,
like Jefferson was probably a pretty good guy in general in the way that he was thinking and proposing.
Yeah.
And John Adams and all those guys, they're liberals. You know.
Yeah. But the definition keeps changing.
Madison,
you know.
Monroe, Hamilton was probably not that liberal.
Well, he was big into banking, right? Let's get this big federal bank going. It's like, oh man, really? Do we need to get this big bank going? In fact, you know what? I mean, I'm not even sure. And they loved, and I'm kind of an anti-war guy. You know, I don't like war because people die. It seems horrible. You know, I don't like people dying. You know, and even the Revolutionary War. Perhaps we could have been a little bit. Not so many people could have had to die doing this event. Like, look at Canada. I don't think a lot of people died kicking the English out there. Of course, they have the Queen on their dollar.
They didn't kick the English out.
Yeah, but they
Don't forget, they helped the English invade us.
Yeah, but they are an independent nation now, as is everything in North and South America. You know, from England. And not everybody had this huge bloody war. You know, like with Washington and everything. A lot of it was done peacefully, I think.
Well,
It's just a glorified. It's just a war that's romanticized more than the other war. Like, oh, the Revolutionary War, like Washington and Hamilton, all these guys, you know.
I don't know.
No one wants to talk bad about these American heroes, I guess.
Well, I don't.
Yeah.
I think it turned out quite well.
It turned out quite well, and they did a really good job with the Constitution. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say anything wrong about that. And it was a great experiment. And I love freedom and capitalism and all that stuff, but like, I also tend to not like war if at all avoidable. But maybe it wasn't, you know. Like, look, it's hard to get rid of the English, man. The India had quite an ordeal getting rid of these guys.
Yeah, and then
then the partition.
They might have been better off keeping them.
Well, they're doing okay now, probably.
No, they are doing okay now. But although, I don't know. I had a friend who was dating an Indian girl.
Yeah.
And he went to India to a wedding
Yeah.
in India, and apparently this girl was very wealthy.
Mm.
Can I tell you this?
How long ago was this?
10 years ago.
Okay, wow.
Okay, so 10 years
How
ago.
old is this guy?
Oh, he was in his early 30s, I think.
Okay, so marriage time.
You should have seen this girl.
Very pretty, huh? Yeah.
She was quite something.
And wealthy.
And she came from a wealthy family.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd basically been raised in America or an American school, so her English was perfect, right?
Really, yeah.
And she was kind of a Valley girl, Indian girl.
Oh, okay.
So there was a certain
yeah
cross-cultural charm to her.
Mm-hmm.
So, but anyway, he goes there, and mom and dad live in this compound behind the big fence, and they drive V8 BMWs everywhere. He said, but you get off the airplane, and they've got this gorgeous automobile to pick you up, and then as soon as you get out of the airport, you're on a dirt road behind some guy with a donkey cart.
Yeah.
And he said, and then finally when you get to the great big compound, and he said, and everything was dusty. Everything was dusty. And then so you get behind the compound, and it's like this whole new world.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, I guess this place was so big, he actually had kind of a paved road or a long driveway, and he said it was incredible.
Yeah.
And they spent unbelievable amounts of money on this event.
Yeah. And he got married there?
No.
Oh.
He was there kind of to meet the parents.
Yeah.
And
didn't work out?
He didn't work out.
Oh, that's too bad.
I don't think he actually, that particular guy, I think he was kind of a bum. I don't think he
didn't impress the parents.
I don't think he had good intentions when it came right down to it.
Yeah.
But pulled it off for a while.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I mean, listen, beautiful girl, like.
But he came back and he described this dichotomy of this absolute nonsense of being in these crowds. You've got this fabulous car that'll do 120 and you can do 15 because that's what the traffic is, and it's dust everywhere. And,
yeah. No, my friend said the same thing. I was like, "Hey, you think you move back to India at all?" And he was like, "Well, you could have a nice house, but once you walk outside that door, you're still in India." Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how many servants you have. You go outside, you're in India. So, and then you get the air quality. Like, there's not a lot of pollution controls, and then the air quality in all these places are really bad. Weather is not that great, but you could find some nice places. It can't be all of India. You could go up in the mountains and live near the Himalayas, or maybe down in some beach towns, but I think they're going to do okay. I mean, like China, they're probably
they're apparently forming an alliance with China, which would be interesting since they've been beating each other up over that little stretch of border down there.
Kashmir.
Yeah. No.
Oh, Kashmir is with Pakistan.
No, Kashmir is Pakistan.
Yeah, those guys are not
on the east side, somewhere up in the mountains or something. The Chinese and the Indians don't agree on the border.
No one lives there anyway.
Well, they trade gunfire over it.
Yeah.
About every 8 or 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Is this Mount Everest? I wonder. Is that included in they were way up there in the Himalayas? There's some big mountain. Like, who knows where the borders are up there? But it's not like it goes through like Berlin or something.
And who cares? But
yeah, who cares?
But apparently they do.